Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
What I'm about to give you are actual headlines that have appeared in newspapers across the United States. Oh, here are a couple dandies. If the strike isn't settled quickly, it may last a while. How about this one? New study of obesity looks for larger test group. And then my favorite. Cold wave linked to low temperatures. Ah, boy. Good morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith and God Bless America, followed by a Patriot. Call in with our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning on a Wednesday. Yay. Oh, good morning to everybody out there in Radio Land. Zeb at the Ranch with Zeb Bell, me, and brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. Along with some of our great advertisers, Western Way Services, always at your disposal. Call, get on the route service, locally owned, 734-6969. And our friends at Valley Wide Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert, everything for the farm, the home, and the ranch at Valleywide Home and Ranch. Right now, let's go to the phone lines and our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning.
This doesn't sound like a long-distance call.
I would be honored to be the pledge.
You know what? I surmised that you would be. Go ahead, please.
Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very well done, my friend Wheels. Have a great day over at the studio. And right now, it's time for the weather, brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design. Wonderful people at 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. And Whitney sent me a note and said that they're going to be hosting a community garage sale August 8th from 8 in the morning until 2 p.m. And those interested in selling items need to call 678-6945. That's the office number. Or come down by the Blue Door in Burley. And the registration deadline for the garage sale is going to be July 25th. So everybody, and a 10 by 10 spot is only $10. So call them. Get a hold of them. Cheney Flooring and Home Design. Whatever you need to make your house a home at 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley, 678-6945. Here now, the weather.
Here's your weather forecast as we hit midweek for Zeb at the Ranch. Going to be slightly breezy for today. Winds out of the west right around 12 miles an hour. Supposed to be sunny skies for today, but this is kind of my interpretation. We will see some clouds, maybe a slight chance of an afternoon thunderstorm because this is southern Idaho. High of 85 for today, tonight low of 56. Tomorrow, pretty much the same as today. Friday, still a chance of isolated thunderstorms. Winds out of the west, picking up to about 15 miles an hour. Expect a high of 80 with an overnight low of 55. And for the weekend, looks like partly cloudy skies. Highs are going to be in the upper 70s to low 80s. That's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you very much, and don't forget, whatever you need to make your house a home, right there at Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley, 678-6945. Look for the Blue Door. I've got this morning another very, very serious topic that I'd like to discuss. And what I want to talk about this morning is a 4-letter word. And we're going to get into that in just a few minutes. Most people won't talk about it, but I think it deserves a lot of conversation this morning because it's all around us now more than ever before. So stay tuned, and I really, honestly, folks, I appreciate your input. So give us a call when we get things started here in just a minute. Don't forget Ramsey Heating and Electric. Oh, my goodness sakes, wonderful people. Hello, Ramsey's at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Number to call, 678-0459. They throw open the doors at 7:30 in the morning till 5, Monday through Friday, and they have all your heating and electrical needs, and they can help you with everything. So please don't hesitate to call or stop in. And they also have all of your air conditioning filters. Boy, they're cheaper when you buy them in a case of 12. Hey, save money. At Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, where they provide warm winters and cool summers. Oh, and two, by the way, I say everything at Valleywide Home and Ranch, and I mean everything. They've got it all for you over there. They've got the AgriFab lawn sweepers, and they've got all the bug spray and the wasp spray, and they've got everything for the 4-Hers. And we are in crunch time right now for all the 4-Hers, getting their projects ready to go, all their animal projects. And if you need equipment or you need feed or whatever, or you need the clothes to show your livestock in, stop over to Valleywide Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert, and it is really true. Oh, by the way, 4-Hers get a 10% discount. Stop over. They've got everything for the farm, the home, and the ranch at Valleywide Home and Ranch. Morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Jeff.
Sir.
Before you get started, could I just say something about that sicko down in Filer that stole that jar from the Muscular Dystrophy Association?
How do you possibly, any person, stoop that low?
What I'd like to see happen is kick that sucker, put him out in the public square in the stocks, bury his hind end, take the buggy whip and live the holy hell out of him until he learns you don't do that stuff. This is getting sicker every damn day.
Al, do you have any idea? I didn't read the entirety of the story, but do you have any idea how much, did they estimate how much money was in there?
It didn't mention that. It just said that he stole it and that was all there was to it. Got a picture of him. I'll tell you what, people like that, I don't want to be around because I do all I can to help them people, muscular dystrophy. Every time I see a jar, I reach in my pocket and give what I can.
I'll tell you what.
It makes me so damn mad that I just want to scream.
I know what you mean, and I totally agree with you. But if you, in your listening to the news or reading the news today, find out approximately how much was lost in that theft, call me right away because I've got an idea for that, if you would.
I see a lot of them jars, and some of them is half full or maybe a little bit more, so it could have been quite a little bit of change.
Yeah.
Still, it's for a purpose, and then he has the audacity to take and steal it. I got no use for that kind of person.
But Al, what you just started this morning is exactly, you don't know this, but it's exactly what I'm going to be talking about in the next 45 minutes. And it's the evil in our society, and I'm going to talk about that next. Al, God bless. Thank you so much.
Okay, have a good one.
All right. Hey, before we get started, Denny's Restaurant, don't forget 611 Overland in Burley, the home of Zeb's Lunch Bunch, and we're going to be over there tomorrow at 611 Overland in Burley. Boy, I'm telling you, Thomas and Terry and the rest of the crew, they put everything out for us. We usually have about 50, 60, sometimes 70, even more people show up for Lunch Bunch. Wow, the menu is fantastic. Breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And, of course, we have door prizes, compliments of Smith's Food King, Walmart, Hanson Mortuary. It is fun. Come on by 11:30 tomorrow at Zeb's Lunch Bunch at Denny's Restaurant, where you can stop in anytime, all the time. When you're hungry, 611 Overland in Burley. Really, really good. Okay, here we go. You may not want to admit this. You may not want to talk about it, but evil. Think of evil. Pure evil is in our neighborhoods, our communities, our states, all across this nation. And I think in fairness to the situation this morning, let's define what evil is out of the Webster's Dictionary. Morally bad or wrong, wicked, causing pain or trouble, offensive or disgusting, evil. Look around you. Look around you in your own environment, your own living area, your job, what you do for hobbies, whatever. Just look around you. We are being subjected to drug trafficking, a drug culture, gangs, illegal activities, illegal people defying our nation's laws and here as illegal aliens. The gay and lesbian and transgenders, this movement is getting bigger and bigger across the United States and is being spurred on by the media and being spurred on by this government with Obama. And their movement is to subvert and take over groups, churches, education, and push for control over you and I. That is it. That's their goal. And turn us into what they call bigots and hate mongers. This is evil. Government corruption is evil. This current administration, and to the Democrats out there and the liberals, if you're offended by this, great, because then I've accomplished my goal this morning. Government corruption with this current administration is, in my opinion, the most evil administration in our history. I think that they have, working with them, for them, and by them in this administration, the most despicable people that are getting paid to hurt America and destroy our value system. I believe that. I'll give you an example. Yesterday, and I was... honestly, some of the language that came out of my mouth initially when I heard this on television with Homeland Security Chief Jay Johnson, and I watched him testifying before that Senate hearing committee, I thought, how despicable is this man? There's been instances in the past where Jay Johnson has been asked questions, and he is so naively dumb. Well, he did it again yesterday. Yesterday at a Senate hearing, he did not know the name of the young woman that had been murdered in cold blood on the pier in San Francisco that has been one of the headlines in the news for over the last 9 days. Kathryn Steinle. No one in this corrupt government, no one with the Obama administration has even called the family to give condolences for her death by an illegal alien. This is evil. When the Michael Brown death occurred in Ferguson, Missouri, Obama and Eric Holder and everybody in that administration, we've got to have an investigation. We've got to check out the police. We've got to have everything go through the Department of Justice to see the bad people that are running Ferguson and the bad people that are connected to the police department. And they called Michael Brown's family. And that's not the only instance. But in this story, with Kathryn Steinle, a beautiful young woman, 32 years of age, with her whole life ahead of her, and everybody that was in contact with her loved her, thought she was a great gal. I mean, just really a nice person. Was shot down on a San Francisco pier as she was with friends and family, standing there next to her dad, for no reason whatsoever, by an illegal alien, and that's what he was. A cold-blooded murderer. And for Jay Johnson, I'll read you what exactly was the transcript. There was a U.S. Representative, Steve Chabot, asked Jay Johnson yesterday, has the administration reached out to the Steinle family, to your knowledge? A perplexed Jay Johnson asked, to who? To who? Chabot said again, to the family of the woman who brutally was murdered by this individual, who had committed 7 different felonies in 4 different states, and by understanding had been deported, kept coming back. Has the administration reached out to that family? Johnson responded and said, I'm sorry, I don't know the answer to that question. Evil. Evil and corrupt. Give me your thoughts. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Please give me a call. Barry Equipment and Rental, while I'm waiting for your call. Evil is the subject this morning. Give us a call, please. Barry Equipment and Rental. These are some of the finest folks I've ever had to work with on my program. They have the equipment to get the job done and get it done right. Barry Equipment and Rental, Eli, Nick, the whole crew, Will, James, everybody. 3 locations: Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, South Lincoln and Jerome, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. I don't care if you're looking for the Bobcats or the Coyote tractors. Whatever you're looking for, it's there. The Doosan loaders, the Walker lawnmowers. My goodness. Why drive all over when you can go right to Barry Equipment and Rental and get the equipment for the job you need? All right? Leasing or buying, Barry Equipment and Rental. Twin Falls, Jerome, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Really good folks. Oh, and by the way, our thanks go out to my friend, and that's, of course, Ron Ellis. We really appreciate Ron Ellis with BASF, committed to successful agriculture and helping farmers all over the United States and right here in Idaho grow bigger and better crops. Excellent research from BASF. Of course, if you have potatoes, right now you're worried about white mold and black dot control, well, they've got Preaxor for the potato growers. You check it out. Contact your field man or crop advisor today, or call Ron Ellis, my dear friend. He's on our program every Monday at 9:46, talking about the benefits of knowing all the products of BASF, committed to successful agriculture. All right, give me a call. Your turn, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You want to talk about more evil? Here is something that I am absolutely livid about this morning, and I will not back up. I consider the nuclear deal with Iran pure evil. Pure evil. It's morally bad. It's morally wrong. It's wicked. It falls under every category of the name and the word evil. We gave away the cookie jar to a band of worthless camel jockeys that are heading up that country, Iran. And on top of it all, here is the question for you to call me and answer. Why? Why was there not a priority from this corrupt and evil administration, ours, to demand up front that if there is going to be any nuclear agreement, if there is going to be any deal signed, that they, Iran, first and foremost will release the prisoners, Pastor Abedini, the Marine, and others that have been held in Iranian prisons for absolutely false charges or no charges at all. I hesitate to say this, but I think you will agree with me. I believe that Pastor Abedini and that Marine that has been held for so long for no reason, and the others, will never come home again. I want to be so wrong on that. I want to, in the next couple of days, be proven wrong on that. I want to joyously say that they are on their way home. I want to joyously say they're coming back to be with their families. But not one person in this administration took the level of the nuclear talks, first and foremost, to saying, let our people go. Then, when they're safe in an embassy, we will sit down and negotiate a treaty That didn't happen. It did not happen. We are playing nicey-nicey with punks, and they're doing nothing. Nothing. What kind of negotiating tool do they have now to get those people out of Iran and out of the prisons? Nothing. This, I think, is evil. And for Obama to sit there and tout his nuclear deal as being a landmark decision and everything is great, everything is rosy, when both sides of the aisle, Democrat and Republican, are looking at him with quizzical looks on their face like, what are you talking about? We gave away the cookie jar. And then for him to say, well, he's going to veto anybody that tries to stop it. Now, and remember when Obama was in Boise? Remember when he spoke up there not too long ago, and then they had arranged a very quick meeting with Naghmeh Abedini, Pastor Abedini's wife, and just so the news could report on the goodness of Obama, he said he's going to do all he can to get her husband released. What was the all I can? What was it? What did they do? Did they bring it up? Was it ever pushed? Was it ever enforced? Our citizens are rotting in one of the most corrupt prisons in Iran. What did they do? What are they going to do now? Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to remind you, too, about the Lincoln County Fair and Rodeo. My goodness, this Saturday it's going to start with the United Truck and Tractor Pull at 7 p.m. up in Shoshone. And then next Monday, the 20th, all the way through the 25th, they've got something for everybody right there at the fairgrounds at the Lincoln County Fair and Rodeo. Don't you miss it. I mean, junior rodeos, horse and pony shows, goat shows, horse pulling contests, ranch rodeos, IMPRA rodeos. Oh my! Those folks up there in Lincoln County know how to have a good cowboy time. Lincoln County Fair and Rodeo, July 18th through the 25th. Don't you miss it. Everybody try to get up to Shoshone. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb.
Go ahead, sir.
Yes, I was just listening to your program here, this Obama giveaway that he did again. And, they say that this thing can't be overturned, his veto can't be overturned, but they keep saying it won't. Why? I guess that's my question. These crazy politicians just don't want to do anything. And so that's my biggest gripe, is why don't they overturn him once?
Well, I agree with you. I got to give credit where credit is due, sir. Our senators, Jim Risch and Mike Crapo, both have spoken out against this deal. Let me quickly read what their statements were. Jim Risch said, in addition, the failure of the administration to secure the release of Pastor Saeed Abedini, which should have been a simple task, even at the outset of negotiations, has been ignored, despite the chorus of pleas to achieve this goal. And then Mike Crapo came out and said, I am deeply disappointed by the failure of the administration to secure the release of Boise Pastor Saeed Abedini and the other Americans being held prisoner in Iran. I give kudos to our senators because I know they're against this agreement, but I'm telling you, sir, this is evil. This is an evil agreement, and the people that put it together are evil.
That's exactly right. And the other question is I don't know if this guy can be brung up on impeachment or treason or something, because that never is talked about, ever.
This man and this administration, I will go back and fall back on the words that I used earlier. I believe this is the most corrupt. I think this is the most villainous. And I think this is the most dangerous administration this nation has ever seen. It's taking apart piece by piece our value system and our Constitution. They are evil.
Absolutely.
I appreciate your call. God bless you, sir. Thank you so much. I'm not going to ever back up on this. I think that absolutely this administration, I hold nothing but contempt for these people. How in the world can John Kerry, Secretary of State, hold his head up and go to any function and not feel like a dirtbag because of the lack of negotiation to get our American prisoners home? Caller, please, I appreciate your patience. If you would stay on the line just a minute, I have a hard break I have to take care of, and I'll be right with you. Please do not hang up. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids with Christine Pickup. I just tried to call her a little bit ago, and she's right behind the Minidoka Hospital across from the emergency room, and the number to call for a hearing screening, 312-0957. She helped me with a hearing problem. She can help you. And I guarantee you that hearing loss is not a part of aging. It is not normal. So if you're having some problems hearing maybe a speaker at an event or a convention or whatever, hey, you better have a hearing screening. Please call her at 312-0957. Mount Harrison Audiology. Right now, quickly, the Capital Press Ag Minute.
The assessment fee for onions grown in eastern Oregon and southwestern Idaho had been cut in half. Onion growers in the area are under a federal marketing order and are being assessed 10 cents for each 100 pounds of onion seed produced. That assessment has been trimmed to 5 cents by the Idaho Eastern Oregon Onion Committee, which administers the marketing order. The new rate became effective July 1st. The assessment cut will save the average grower about $30 an acre, says Grant Kutamera, chairman of the organization promotion committee, which recommended the assessment cut. About 20,000 acres of big bulb onions are grown on both sides of the border in the Treasure Valley, and the assessment generates a little more than $900,000 a year.
Thank you very much, and brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology. And, of course, the lovely lady, Christine Pickup, Doctor of Audiology, can help you with your hearing problems. All you have to do is call like I did. Make an appointment, 312-0957. Caller, thank you for your patience. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, Zeb. You know, it's so obvious to most all of us that the Obama administration is doing everything it can to help Islam win this battle against the world. And this agreement surely points out that his Muslim faith, which he has admitted several times in public, he's not a Christian as he claimed he was, is basically doing what he can to make sure, between the immigration policies that are happening, the attack on Christian chaplains, attack on Christians throughout this country, Hannity referred to him as the Manchurian candidate, which I thought was pretty appropriate.
Yeah.
I don't know if you happen to hear that.
I did.
But anyway, you know, people, we better be waking up. And I know he's in the driver's seat because now they have to have 67 senators to override by 2/3 of Congress on this deal. But I guarantee you, Israel and the rest of the Arab countries are probably going to have to take some preemptive strikes. And if this thing goes through, we will have World War III start.
I agree.
Be inevitable.
I agree. Adrian, thank you very much for your call and your patience. I've got a lot more to cover on this subject this morning, and I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
We need to get on to our people, stop these trade agreements, and both our senators voted for fast track. That was wrong. We need to keep on them and also stop this new Achieve education thing. I think it's 1177. We need to call our senators and our congressmen to stop this federal. Further, it's a revision of the No Child Left Behind.
I don't want to get into that right now this morning. I want to stay on track here this morning with the evil that this corrupt and very, very dangerous administration is involved in. Thank you, Adrian. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Incredible how he's trying to destroy this country from without and from within. Our foreign and domestic policies both are helping basically Islam and helping Marxism.
I agree.
The world.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Adrian. I appreciate your call. Thank you, sir, very much. And he's right. Evil. This is what this administration, this is an evil agreement. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. Do we have to wonder what kind of a person John Kerry is when he could stand behind Jane Fonda, look into the eyes on the faces of those prisoners that the Torians had, and turn around and walk away.
Yeah.
He's scumbag in the lowest degree.
I have nothing good to say about this administration, whether it's Homeland Security Chief Jay Johnson, whether it's the Secretary of State, and that's John Kerry, whether it goes to the top floor, the Oval Office, Obama. I think that there is so much corruption. I think there is so much evil right now that it has to be changed and averted right now. Thank you, Helen. I appreciate it.
You know what I call them? They're nothing but low-down, daddy-aunt robbers.
I appreciate your opinion. Thank you very much. I'm going to give you some other examples of evil in our society right now. And I'm telling you, it's really a concern. Really a concern. For those of us that have family values, go to church on Sunday, and try to gear our lives towards what is right, what is wrong. I'll talk about that in just a minute. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, right behind Dr. Crane's office, and this is quite a business. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation with Nick Greenwell, physical therapist, and all the physical therapists that work there. They know all the sports medicine, all the exercises, have the hydrotherapy pool with the treadmill in the bottom, and they can help you get back to being you. You don't have to live in pain. You don't have to quit things. No, help you get back to being you at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. Call for an appointment today at 678-1191. That added number again, 678-1191. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. Really, really good folks. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Real quick, I want to tell you about Oakley Pioneer Days. Started last night with the Bump and Rub. No, wait a minute. Yeah, it did. And it goes again tonight with another night of the Bump and Rub car race, 4-cylinder car race. Holy cow, I think the women are running tonight. Look out, Katie, bar the door. And then tomorrow night, Thursday night, the Gymkhana. Friday and Saturday night, the IMPRA rodeo with the dance and the fireworks and everything else. And during the day, they got basketball tournaments and volleyball tournaments and great chuck wagon breakfasts. And oh my goodness, on Saturday, the Pioneer Day Parade. It's all happening at Oakley Pioneer Days, turning our hearts to our fathers all the way through Saturday in Oakley. Brought to you by the Oakley Vigilantes. Oakley Pioneer Days. Don't miss it. Calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give you another example of evil. Evil. Transgenders in our military. Caller, just stay with me 30 seconds. I'll be right with you. Stand by. I was shocked this morning to turn on the news at 4 a.m., and listen to a Navy SEAL that is absolutely livid, and rightfully so. He said he does not want to serve next to transgenders who are absolutely destabilizing our troops, and it's so sick and perverted. And I couldn't agree more. This is another stepping stone for the gay, lesbian, transgenders to come in and change and absolutely alter our society. It's evil. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. Did you hear that John Kerry and the Iranian Prime Minister, or whatever he is, Zarif, has been nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize?
I'm chuckling not out of humor, Lorna. I'm chuckling because this insanity, this absolute insanity of even thinking about John Kerry and this other camel jockey as getting the Nobel Peace Prize when this was nothing more than corruption. This was nothing more than under-the-table deals. You know something, Lorna? I hope and I pray that some members of Congress or the Senate will stand up, whether it is Risch or whether it's Crapo or I don't care who it is, and voice to ABC, NBC, and CBS, major networks, or CNN, and say, hey, wait a minute. Why should we be touting a deal about a nuclear liaison between the United States and Iran when they still have 4 or more American prisoners in their jail cells and they're rotting away? This is absolute evil.
It is. It is. And you know what I said when I read that? He deserves it just as much as Obama did when he first became president.
I'll tell you something.
The Nobel Peace Prize.
And I'll tell you something. John Kerry is such a joke, and it's not a funny joke. It's a joke against us. Here's a man that came back from Vietnam and denigrated and downplayed and destroyed the American soldier image, and he ends up being Secretary of State. What kind of a nutso society are we living in?
I don't know.
All right, Lorna, God bless you. Thank you so much. Thank you. You want to hear, folks, thank you, Lorna, and I know I'll see you at Lunch Bunch tomorrow. Thank you very much. You want to hear something that just drove me right up the wall when I heard this, and it's going to take place tonight. Tonight. ESPN Sports Network, and this is all a part of what we're talking about, evil this morning. ESPN is going to give out the ESPY Awards tonight. And guess who the ESPN Arthur Ashe Courage Award is going to go to this year? Oh, you don't have any idea? Oh, well, let me spring this on you so you can sit back, and if you're driving down the road, don't run in the barrel pit. The ESPN Arthur Ashe Courage Award is going to be presented to Bruce Jenner. I'm almost at a loss of words right now. The transgender wacko, Bruce Jenner. I, by the way, refuse to call him or it by the name that it wants. Caitlin is the name, but I won't refer to Bruce Jenner in any other name. But have we gone down the ladder into the cesspool that low that the Arthur Ashe Courage Award goes to somebody that is so totally messed up and mocking and laughing at God? Bruce Jenner? That's evil. That really is evil. Give me a call, please. I worked up a sweat here this morning. I am so frustrated with all this. Evil in our society. Maybe you've got some other better examples. Give me a call. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't weaken, folks. Don't weaken. Give me a call and let your voice be heard. Time for the weather real quick, and the weather is brought to you by Mad River Laser with Nicole and a great staff over there at 502 East Street in Rupert. They are celebrating, has it been a year already? They're celebrating their 1-year anniversary right up on the square, 8 years in business, and nobody does the job that they do over there. Whether it's your business promotional items or your caps, your jackets, your T-shirts, your sweatshirts with your business logo or whatever on there, they are the best. Plain and simple, the best. And with their anniversary, they are giving away 2 barbecue sets. Get in and register. And all kinds of great items right there at Mad River Laser. I'm telling you, I am so proud of what they've done. 502 East Street in Rupert. Caller, I'll be right there right after this forecast. Here's Gina with our weather.
Here's your weather forecast as we hit midweek for Zeb at the Ranch. Going to be slightly breezy for today. Winds out of the west right around 12 miles an hour. Supposed to be sunny skies for today, but this is kind of my interpretation. We will see some clouds, maybe a slight chance of an afternoon thunderstorm because this is southern Idaho. High of 85 for today, tonight low of 56. Tomorrow, pretty much the same as today. Friday, still a chance of isolated thunderstorms. Winds out of the west, picking up to about 15 miles an hour. Expect a high of 80 with an overnight low of 55. And for the weekend, looks like partly cloudy skies. Highs are going to be in the upper 70s to low 80s. That's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
All right, thank you very much. Brought to you by Mad River Laser. Nicole and the crew at 502 East Street in Rupert. Caller, thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Zeb. I think there's something wrong with my TV because I thought I heard him say that in this agreement with Iran that we were going to give them billions of dollars. Is there something wrong with my TV?
No, there's nothing wrong with your television set because when push comes to shove and the American public and hopefully all of our senators and congressmen are going to understand the costs, underline that word costs, as to what this deal is going to cost us, the United States, what it's going to cost our allies, what it might cost Israel, the most dangerous part of that deal. And I think your television set is not lying to you. But I'll tell you what is lying to you, Keith. You won't hear a lot of the negativity towards this Iranian nuclear deal from the major networks because they haven't got the backbone to report the facts.
Well, you know anybody that would come to Zeb Bell and say, Zeb, will you loan me $20,000? And Zeb looks in his wallet, and he can't find that much. And he said, we'll just put it on a national debt. Now, how much was that again?
Yeah.
And they just go like that. It makes no sense.
There is no sense in this deal.
You don't loan money to somebody when your national debt is over $18 trillion.
I would not have released one single sanction. I would not have done one single thing in any negotiation with this very dangerous country, Iran, until I looked them in the eye at that table that was in the shape of a horseshoe and looked right across the table and said, okay, dudes, here's the deal. You either release our prisoners right now or we're walking away from this meeting. There is no structure of being tough. There is no respect to this country, America, anymore by our adversaries, and it's because we don't know how to negotiate for us.
What do you think Donald Trump would have told them at the beginning of that meeting?
Absolutely what I just said. He would have said, hey, I'm only going to be here for about 5 minutes. You got 5 minutes to let us know that our people are going to the nearest embassy. Release them now or I'm out of here. That's exactly what he would have done.
Yeah, and why? Why is he number one in the polls right now? Because he's telling it like it is.
That's right.
That's
Keith,
I like it.
I appreciate it. Keith, I got another call. Thank you, sir. God bless you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, bye.
Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. I do agree what you're saying here about the Iranian thing. But going back to the transgenders, I have been livid since last Thursday, when you told me about the thing in Oregon and such. Now with the SB tonight, I think all good Christians, anybody who's against all that, should just turn off their TV, gather their family around them, or head to church, and let's all pray, because this is just horrible. And as you said, yes, evil.
You know, I so much appreciate your call. Thank you so much. That was very well stated. You know, we all need to pray for the status of where we are today. This world is really corrupt. This world is really evil. My wife and I were sitting there watching the news last evening, and we were having supper, and we both looked at each other and said, you know, really, It's amazing. Every single day, the news gets worse and worse and worse. The world is more evil. There is more corruption. There are just so many things to worry about. What is going on? Now, you might say, oh, Zeb, stop it. Stop it. Don't have all the negativity. Why, we just want to think of rose gardens and little puppy dogs. Well, you fine. You live in that world. But reality is telling you and me right now that it's happening because we've buried our head in the sand before. It is time to stand up and, like that lady said, pray and do something about the evil in our society. Whether it is something with Homeland Security not acknowledging what's going on, with the stupid sanctuary cities in our country and the illegal aliens just running amok all over this United States, whether it's this administration, whether it's this stupid, frivolous nuclear deal that's going to create havoc for the world in years to come, whether it's the transgenders in our military, I don't care what it is. It's about time to stand up and fight back. Good morning, you're on the air.
You know, when these crazy people with their philosophies and have no logic at all are standing there and they realize that they have destroyed the very thing that protected them and gave them a living, protected their family and friends, and they're standing there and they're shaking their head and they're, well, we just didn't understand or it has to be this way because we have to have control. You know, the insanity of these people is so far beyond what common people understand that we cannot really grasp how insane this is and how literally this president was telling you, even though we know the sky is blue, he says, no, you're wrong. No, I'm going to lecture you. It's red.
Yeah.
It's red. You're wrong. What you're seeing is wrong. What you see is not true. He lies, and then he does another thing. And we just, we let him. Has Benjamin Netanyahu ever lied to America? Never. And not that I know of, and I don't see any reason why he would have.
There is...
He is truly concerned, and they will do what they have to do to protect themselves. And I guess if they have to melt down Tehran, God help us. But maybe it might end up being that way.
You know, Randy, I don't care what situation you're in. I'm not talking about you personally, but people in general. I don't care if they just basically go to the post office every day for their mail and then go home, or maybe to the grocery store, or maybe there are many other circumstances. Look around you. Look at what's happening to our society. Look at what's happening to our neighborhoods. Look at what's happening against our churches and our religion. Look at what's happening against our Constitution and our country. And how dare anybody tell me there's not evil in this world more so than ever before?
This is how I believe evil works, and then I'll be done. I believe that if you as a person choose to live your life in a way and you say evil has no control over me, I choose to do the right thing every day, and I choose to accept Jesus as my Lord and Savior and know that God exists. And I think that you can be relatively safe to a point from the adversary.
But
other people who choose to allow it to control their lives attack you, that is where it gets in. It's from other people who literally, it's so obvious. It's just like this Planned Parenthood thing. I don't even know if you've talked about it, how they're selling body parts. These people are evil.
Yes, and let me interrupt you right there, not only because I've got this story right in front of me, but also a lack of time. I am going to devote tomorrow morning, the first hour, to the alleged Planned Parenthood felonies that have taken place and the cover-up that has been taking place with Planned Parenthood. I have said on this program for months and months that Planned Parenthood was evil and not a part of a Christian society. And this story that you're referring to that we're going to cover tomorrow absolutely amplifies that. Randy, God bless you for your call.
Thanks, and help God help us.
I agree with that. God help us. I would like to run into somebody that, or have somebody call that would defend what's going on in our world today. I really would. Because, man, are we going to unload the wagon on them? There are naive, and quite frankly, yes, stupid people that think that everything that's going on is, oh, well, that's just a change in America. Oh, that's just a progressive society. No, it's not. It's evil. It is evil. Caller, stand by. I'll be right with you. Don't forget your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you and serving you with the best in tires. And they've got a sale on some of their top tires for cars and light trucks like the Eclipse, the Strategy, and the Open Country HT. And don't forget, always the best in brake value service. They know brakes with professionally trained technicians. The very best in front end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries, but always the best in service. With Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, John on Pole Line and Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland and Burley, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Caller, I've got exactly 30 seconds. Go real fast.
Yes, sir. First of all, we're talking evil here, so we've got to talk about the opposite, and in our case, that would be the Christians. And as I mentioned yesterday, we've got some good support from our leaders, ministers, and pastors and bishops. It's time that the Christian people stand up, and that would do it, because there are so many millions of them. If they would just stand up and do what Rita Ramsey and you have tried to do for years with patriotism, stand up, please.
Amen.
Constitution for your goodness, not for evil.
Amen. Sir, God bless you for your call. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Got to run to the news. I'll be back in 6. Don't go away. Zeb at the Ranch. Thank you very much. All right, here we go. Hour number 2, Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers. And we want to say thank you very much to Valley Wide Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert. Everything for the farm, the home, and the ranch at Valley Wide. And our friends at Western Waste Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and its great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Waste Services.
Always at your disposal, absolutely correct. Locally owned and operated Western Waste Services. All you have to do to get on the route service to get rid of your garbage. It's gone. It's out of there. Call them at 734-6969. Western Waste Services. Yep, always at your disposal. Call them today. Hey, by the way, every morning when we sign on at 8:06, we want to make sure that we get a weather forecast sponsored by Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door. Don't forget they're going to have a community garage sale on August 8th from 8 a.m. till 2 p.m. You better give them a holler on the landline 678-6945. Look for the blue door. Find out more about this at Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Before we have our next guest on the program, a couple of things I want to say quickly. For that first hour, and we were talking about all the many facets of evil that are in our society today. We're going to continue that vein of thought again tomorrow morning during the first hour, our open forum hour from 8 to 9 tomorrow, and I think you'll find more interesting topics that we're going to be going into. And I appreciate all your calls, not only during that first hour, but also during the news newscast. Thank you very much. Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert with our dear friend Joel Heward, his family and his staff, always with flexible hours. They are there when you need them. That's exactly right. They can travel to the rural towns and churches. They can help you with the arrangements when there's the passing of a loved one. You do not have to always come to them. Please remember, they always serve you with the utmost of high ethical standards and unquestioned integrity. At Hanson Mortuary, call today. Get all the information on pre-planning of funerals to help alleviate a lot of the stress and worry for our families. The number, 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary in Rupert. You call them today. And right now, let's go to the phone lines and say good morning to a lady that knows all about 4-H, knows all about the Central Idaho 4-H camp as they're celebrating their 50th anniversary. Good morning to Carrie Ricketts. How are you?
I'm great, Zeb. How are you today?
Not too bad. 4-H. My goodness, we're going to go back in time, go back in memory. It's been a long time since I was a member of the Deer Creek 4-H Club back in Fort Atkinson and Jefferson, Wisconsin. And I was just trying to remember the 4-H pledge. I can remember its heart, health, and hands, but I can't remember the fourth one.
Service.
Oh, okay, service. All right. You got me. Well, tell us a little bit about this camp that is celebrating its 50th anniversary.
Well, this is Central Idaho 4-H Camp, and it's located 17 miles north of Ketchum. And it was built in 1965 with the whole intention was to provide camping experience for kids. And it was built blood, sweat, and tears, extension agents and volunteers. And we've been doing this for 50 years. We also allow to keep the camp going. We let other people rent the camp for different venues. And so we've had lots of church camps up there. We've had family reunions. And this has been going on for 50 years.
Holy cow. Really, what is the main purpose of the camp? When you talk about a 4-H camp, I mean, yeah, it's great to say, well, we're going to go up and we're going to really appreciate nature and all of God's blessings and the great outdoors and the mountains and everything. But what's the main purpose of having this 4-H camp?
Well, our purpose is to provide youth with the activities and learn about their environment and about camping and about team building skills. They learn to giggle with their friends till midnight. They learn to build snow forts in the wintertime. They learn snow safety in the wintertime. They learn hiking skills, safety skills, survival skills. They learn how to cook. We teach them how to cook up there. I mean, there's just so many things. It's just good life skills.
Carrie, do you believe that 4-H is still as important and prominent as it was when I was a little guy? I mean, I loved the 4-H club. I loved all the projects. The only thing I didn't care for was the project records, but my dad and mother made sure they stood over me with a ruler and I got it done. But I love 4-H. Is it still as prominent today as it was?
Prominent, probably not. We've seen a decline in numbers, but important, yes. It's more important now than ever because you're teaching, again, life skills and the importance of self. And so, you know, I'd like to see us boost our numbers with our kids. Kids are so busy nowadays. We pack so much into their days and weeks and summers. So it is hard for us to get kids involved, and they don't realize the value. But we keep evolving our programs, you know. Like I've told you before, 4-H isn't new and clutch anymore. We've got a variety of projects for kids. We have Lego projects. We have robotics. We have service. We have community speaking. You know, there's so many things that these kids can learn about, and they don't realize it.
Okay, now, what about that, though, when you started to change and transition from the original projects? I mean, I had the horse project, naturally, and I had a woodworking project, which drove Mr. Heiliger nuts. But all those different projects, and now you're opened it up, and city kids, country kids alike can be a part of it, can't they?
You bet. Anyone can be a part of it. We have tried to encompass urban and, I mean, everyone, because it is important, because it's life skills we're trying to teach these kids. And they can go on, you know, we've had kids in government projects that are city kids. They've never stepped foot on a farm. But by being involved in 4-H, they get an overview, and they do get to see how important, because I believe that the livestock projects and the cooking and the sewing projects and the canning projects are kind of the mainstay for 4-H. And yet you're teaching these kids you need to have these basics, but it's really good to be diversified and know about everything.
You know, Carrie, what do you do? I mean, you've been involved in 4-H for a long, long time, and I admire your tenacity to stay involved with this. But what can we do? What can you do? What can others do to try to stimulate more interest in keeping 4-H alive?
Well, you can promote with the kids. I guess it's getting out and getting the word out that this is available. And the projects you don't have to have a farm. You don't have to do it for all year. There's some projects you can do in a day and still be involved. And getting people to volunteer. We've got so many amazing volunteers in the 4-H program, but we're always looking for more. And telling people, just word of mouth, getting people, getting the word out that we have this still available.
What are the ages as far as when kids can start in 4-H, and how far in life can they go?
Well, we have a Clover Bud program, and they can be 5 years old. Traditional 4-H starts at 8, and it goes through. They even have collegiate 4-H that's 19 and above. So and then you volunteer, and then you become the leader. So you kind of graduate into being a leader.
Okay.
So it encompasses a large span of ages.
Now, is there any kind of a requirement, or do they have to meet a certain kind of a testing or something in order to qualify to go to 4-H camp, or is it open for everybody?
Well, there's several 4-H camps that are open to anyone. And each county has a different camp, and each area has different camps. Our camps are pretty much done for 4-H camps for this year. But next year, if you've got kids that want to go to camp, get in contact with your local extension office, and they can give you the time frames. And if money's an issue, there's tons of scholarships out there to send these kids to camp. Now, this camp that we're having in September is a special camp to celebrate our 50th. And we're trying to gear it to everyone. For families, you don't have to be involved in 4-H. You just have to want to come up there. And we have some great workshops we're going to have for people, and the cost is very nominal. We're going to have wool, how to clean and card wool. We're going to have Project Wild curriculum. We're going to have gun safety. We're going to have bow hunters. They're going to learn to tie-dye, gut and cooking tooling, and the list just goes on. And now again, it's geared to families, and so that's kind of what we want to do, to show people that this camp is still up there. We're going to have even some forestry things, soils and the different plants and stuff, sciences that are up there, and wildlife that's up there.
Well, look, Carrie, okay, so there's a family listening right now, and their children have been in 4-H, and they'd really like to be a part of this. What are the dates, and what do they have to do to try to get registered?
Okay, the date of this camp it starts Friday, September 11th.
Okay.
And goes through Sunday, September 13th. And what they need to do is contact any of their extension offices, or they can contact me, and then we'll send you out a flyer that gives you all the information, the registration information, and the time frames. And if they can't come for the whole weekend, we have day rates. They can come for just specific activities. We just want them to come up there and see how beautiful this facility is.
Absolutely. Now, what about you? I mean, you have been involved in 4-H for a long, long time. And what's the fascination and what's the goal for you? I mean, my goodness, it's not like you don't have anything else to do.
Oh, Deb, I love this camp. Of course, my daughter was married up there. I've been involved with this camp board for many, many years. I just want people to know that it's out there, and I enjoy seeing families come up there and learning about the camp and about the area and about having fun with each other, getting to know other people from other areas. It's not scary. There's just so many things. I just love the camp.
Well, I tell you what, you've been really heavily involved in it. And what about, you mentioned a minute ago about families. What about the facilities? Talk a little bit about that. What's up there?
Okay, we have 12 rustic cabins available, and they sleep 12 to 14 people. There's a lodge that we can have about 175 people sit down at a meal. There's a full-service kitchen up there. There's men's and ladies' showers. It's rustic, so you bring your own toiletries, you bring your own sleeping bags. There is actually limited tent and RV spaces even. So, we kind of have a little bit of everything. The view is phenomenal up there. You're right, in the mountains, you're just on Prairie Creek. So, they can go fishing up there. But there's so many things. There's day hikes. You're close to Ketchum for all the activities in town. There's swimming at Easley's, which is only 3 miles away from the camp. Or if you want to go up over Galena Summit, we're only about 40 miles from Stanley. So it's kind of a central location for so many things. But the camp itself has all those things. We have the cabins. They have electricity. We don't have air conditioning. We don't have heat. But we have a lot of fun.
Yeah, but up there in the mountains, I doubt seriously if air conditioning is really sought after on those early mountain mornings.
You're probably right. It's pretty cool. I think a sweatshirt's really the best thing.
Well, now, what about the arrangements as far as, is there a number to call where people can find out more information about this 4-H camp?
You bet. And if they're wanting to come to this specific camp in September, they can call the Twin Falls County Extension Office at 734-9590, or any extension office. They have the flyers, and they can get you in contact with the right people. And also to book the camp, if you have a family reunion or an event that you want to have people come up there, you also call the Twin Falls office, and they do all the booking for us.
Absolutely.
And they give you the price lists and everything.
Wow.
And really, it's crazy inexpensive to come up there and use the facility for any event. We have weddings up there all summer long. So, it's not that expensive. Try and get a venue anywhere around here. You get meals and you get lodging, so...
Well, it sounds to me like it is a fun thing to be a part of. But, one thing I was thinking about with all the kids and everything, do you have a rule that they have to turn off and discard all their electronic equipment so they can really enjoy Mother Nature at its best?
The beauty of it up there is, guess what? We don't get cell service up there. So it's pretty nice. And, we try to get them not to bring technology with them. We do use PowerPoint, and we watch movies and stuff like that. But for the most part, we encourage them to turn everything off and have fun without having to be connected to electronics.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be a really good, fun time for everybody. And celebrating the Central Idaho 4-H Camp 50th anniversary, Carrie Ricketts, any final thoughts before I let you go this morning?
Well, I just want everyone to know that there have been so many people involved with this camp over the 50 years, hundreds and hundreds of people that have touched this camp and been part of it, and that's kind of what we're also celebrating. So we sure hope you can all come up, and even if you can only come up for a day, we'd love to see you up there. Bring your memories with you. If you have memories you want to share with me and you can't be there, we are putting together kind of a CD, and so you could get in contact with me at 420-2223 anytime, and we'd love to have your memories part of our event.
All right. Carrie, thank you so much. I hope it's a great success. God bless, and come back and talk to us again in the future.
Thank you, Zeb, so much for doing this for us.
All right, take care. Thank you very much. Carrie Ricketts, a long time with the 4-H here in the state of Idaho, and she does a wonderful job. It's a passion for her. Talking about Central Idaho's 4-H camp and their 50th anniversary. Man, I remember the old days with 4-H. A lot of fun. Deer Creek 4-H Club back in Jefferson and Fort Atkinson, Wisconsin. Wow, that was a long time ago. Some of the projects and some of the project managers that were part of the 4-H, they probably would like to forget that I was even a part of it, especially that woodworking course with Mr. Heiliger. Whew, I made him sweat. Hey, by the way, Oakley's going on, and the Oakley merchants say, come on up to Oakley Pioneer Days all the rest of this week, and stop into Clark's for shopping at 100 East Main Street in Oakley. Holy smokes, they got a great store. And they've got that famous breakfast sausage from Grandma's special recipe, whether it's in bulk patties or links. It is delicious. They've been in business since 1924. Oh my, Clark's for shopping. You stop up and see them today. And also Oakley Valley Stone at 204 West Main Street in Oakley. You know, if you're looking for stone for a new fireplace, a headstone for a loved one, or landscaping boulders, look no further than Oakley Valley Stone. They are the source, and they don't buy the stone, they sell it. So by golly, get a hold of Oakley Valley Stone. And Searles at 106 North Center in Oakley. Gas, grub, and all the goodies. Store opens at 6 o'clock in the morning, goes till 9 p.m., and you've got to try those Searles specialty buns that are baked fresh every day. Oh, wow. I mean, I remember the taste of those when I've been up there. I always stop and get one. They are delicious. Searles, 106 North Center Street in Oakley, saying, come on up to Oakley Pioneer Days all the rest of this week. Wow, they are going to have a good time. Oh, by the way, my good buddy Dave Zanino and his lovely wife, Dawn, they're putting on another series team roping tonight at the Gooding County Fairgrounds. I believe, unless Dave calls me and tells me differently, they're going to sign up at 7:30, rope at 8. And that's at the Jerome County Fairgrounds. And for more information, call Dave at 431-1263. Big roping tonight at the Jerome County Fairgrounds. You want to just get away from everything? I mean, you want to just get up in the hills, or you want to just get on the river and go, get away? Well, I'll tell you what. Stop it. Let's ride. 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and Hayburn, where the fun is sold. Oh, my. All the watercraft. Yeah, buddy. They've got all the watercraft for being on the river, over at the lake, or just finding a big puddle of water. I'll tell you what, you'll have fun. And all the ATVs. My goodness, go on that showroom floor and just stop and stare. Left to right, right to left. You're going to find exactly what you're looking for. And, of course, they got a fantastic accessory department. And if something needs repairing, they've got a service department that really knows what they're doing. Over at Let's Ride, Highway 24 between Rupert and Burley. Yes, sirree. That is where the fun is sold. Oh, my goodness. Give us a call. I got time for another phone call. Please holler at me at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. And got time before my next guest, so I'd love to hear from you. Please, give me a jingle. We'll visit just a little bit. Don't forget, when you think about life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, yes, sirree, Bob, you are thinking about Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Now, they are very dedicated and responsive to your needs and highly accessible and devoted to serving you. All you have to do is get a call to them and make an appointment. 436-4424. 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Really good folks. All right, it's your turn. Come on, give me a jingle. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Little note later on. The big guy, Kelton Hatch, is going to be here with the Idaho Fishing Game at about 10 o'clock this morning. We're looking forward to having him come in the studio. And in just a few moments, we're also going to have more on the Idaho Cattle Association, their 100-year great big convention and trade show that's going on up in Boise. And we're going to have Gerald Raymond, the vice president of the ICA, on with us right straight from the convention floor. And that should be pretty doggone interesting. So tune in for that. Calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244. And I also want to, last night, I've got to just say that I had a nostalgic tear in my eye. I did. I was watching the All-Star game last night and the beginning festivities and everything. And as you may or may not know, I love baseball. I always have loved baseball. I grew up with baseball. I grew up less than 35 miles away from Milwaukee County Stadium, where the Braves used to play before they moved to Atlanta. And I knew a lot of the players, and I had a chance to go to a lot of the games at Milwaukee County Stadium. And last night, I got to tell you, if you're a baseball fan like I am, and you watch some of the greats, the living legends, come onto the field last night that were introduced. Yes, they're old. Yes, they're on canes. Yes, they had a hard time coming out onto the playing field last night. But watching Willie Mays, the Say Hey kid, watching Sandy Koufax, one of the greatest pitchers ever to get on the mound, had a curveball that would just make you jump out of your boots. And Pete Rose, yeah, a lot of bad baggage for Pete Rose, but he was an amazing baseball player. And last but not least, a man that I had a chance to sit next to in the dugout at the Milwaukee County Stadium, the Braves game, hammering Hank Aaron. I will never forget that moment in my life of sitting there in the dugout next to Hank Aaron on one side and Eddie Matthews, a top home run hitting third baseman for the Braves. Wow! What a dream for a kid my age at that stage of my life. And watching them go out onto the field last night as living legends, it really brought a tear to my eye. Caller, quickly, if you would, please.
Yeah, I read your article in your newsletter, and you forgot to mention one great player, Zeb.
No, I didn't forget to mention anybody. It was a lack of time. Who, in your opinion, was the one I forgot?
Lou Gehrig.
Yeah, but I was talking mostly, I think, about the players that I watched and grew up with, and Lou Gehrig was before my time, but there's no question he was one of the greatest players that ever played the game.
Well, he played with Mickey Mantle.
Way back in the early stages, but I went from what I could remember, and I never saw personally Lou Gehrig play, but boy, there's no question about it. Lou Gehrig, and then of course talking about a lot of the fantastic players, and one player that never gets the credit that he deserves, and I'm going to tell you who it is, and you can argue with me if you want to. Roger Maris.
Yep. You're all right. Okay, have a good one.
And by the way, Al, don't forget Whitey Ford either.
Oh, yeah. Old Whitey.
Amen. God bless you. Thank you very much. Some of the greats walked onto that field last night. It was a really nostalgic moment and one that I'll treasure for a long time. Let's go to the phone lines right now, and a gentleman that was gracious enough to take time out of his busy schedule. He is the Idaho Cattle Association Vice President, and that's Gerald Raymond. Good morning, Gerald. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb. I'm doing fine. How are you?
Well, I would imagine that now that you're over in Boise, kind of lounging around at the 100-year convention and trade show for the Idaho Cattle Association, you've probably been to all the food booths, and you're just ready to lay down and take a little siesta. What's going on up there?
Well, actually, it's been pretty busy, Zeb. It has been. We spent most of the day yesterday in board meetings, helping tie down the last-minute details of the convention, also taking into consideration some important issues that face the industry. We started our day this morning at 4:30, introducing folks to the news media here in Boise. Our governor's speaking as we speak. He's opening our convention this morning as we speak. There's some great and exciting things happening here in Boise this week.
You know, Gerald, let me ask you this. The tone of the convention, what do you think is the main theme or the tone of the convention that you'd like the general consumers around the Northwest and especially in the state of Idaho to understand and perceive? What is it?
Well, obviously, we're celebrating 100 years of our industry being in existence. The Cattle Association was organized in 1915 with just a couple of ranchers in Mackay, Idaho. Now we have well over 1,000 members of our association. It's a great time to get together, to rub shoulders with like-minded people, people who we agree with politically, people who we have common faith with, and people that we have so much in common with in the industry. The attitude here is just one of celebration, really. In spite of the challenges that we face around the country, this is a celebratory occasion here for the cattle industry.
Mm-hmm. When you say challenges, I really like your verbiage on that instead of saying problems. I like the way you said challenges, because there's challenges in any lifestyle. There's challenges in any line of work, any way of life. What are the biggest challenges right now to the Cattle Association and to cattlemen themselves?
Well, we're coming off of a couple of really great years of market prices. And and this isn't one of our greatest challenges, but what do we do from here on? We know that these prices may not sustain themselves forever, but we have some choices to make. Succession choices, for example. How do we pass the older generation? How do we pass our assets down to the next generation? How do we hold assets for harder times in the future? How do we invest so that we're better prepared for the future? And challenges are, we can overcome any challenge. And as an industry, we're very resilient, and we have overcome many challenges. One of the great challenges that we face right now as an industry is how do we preserve? How do we preserve our lifestyle? How do we preserve the open range that we use? The forage that's produced in the open range is converted to protein. And quite honestly, the cattle industry is a large industry in the state of Idaho. It's the second largest. It's $2.5 billion with a B. $2.5 billion industry in the state of Idaho. It supports and sustains a great part of our economy. It supports many families. But, one of the most important things, and it'll be brought up here and has been brought up before, is that we are blessed as an industry to be able to feed a growing world population with a protein source that's nutritious and it tastes good.
Gerald, let me ask you this. I would imagine that there's a lot of head scratching going on at your convention as to what can be done better or more efficiently to make the consumers and make the people east of the Mississippi that really don't understand our lifestyle out here, our heritage, and what it takes to grow that beef for their burger or that steak for that plate. What more can we do to try to educate them and let them know what we're doing and they can appreciate us? What more can we do?
Well, I think that's an interesting question, Zeb, and quite honestly, one thing that's very refreshing as we get together as an industry is seeing the young, new faces that are getting involved in the cattle business and in the industry, ag industry as a whole. I think in order to educate the public that don't come out to the West often and don't see how we actually live, I think it's important that we communicate with them in some fashion. And obviously, newer technology, newer media technology, social media, those kind of things that our younger generation understand a lot better than the older generation, those young people are going to be able to help communicate with the people who don't really experience our way of life here in the West. I think it's vital. I think it's very important. Our young people are involved. The stage of the production process.
And Gerald, too, let's just call it what it is. The environmental movement in this country is against anything and everything, and they've got awfully deep pockets to try to get what they want or stopped. How do we go about trying to stymie their efforts in trying to get rid of one of the staunch, great businesses in our society, and that's the cattle business?
Well, that's the $64,000 question. We have gone to our people who produce the food and asked for resources to help fight these battles. I think at some point we've got to call those people what they truly are, and they are domestic terrorists. For the life of me, I don't understand how we can continue to feed a growing population without the resources that we need to do that. And the resources that we have are the open ranges, taking forage that can be utilized in no other way and convert it to protein. Take that forage that that is essentially fuel for wildfires. Somehow, and I don't have the answer, Zeb. I wish I had the answer in a 2-sentence form, but I don't, as to how we raise the funds to combat these issues. But it's something that the association is working on, I promise you, every day of the week.
You know, Gerald, it's really great that you took time to come out of the convention and visit with us this morning. But, you know, I'm sure that as Vice President of the Idaho Cattle Association, you've had chances and opportunities to talk to other people in other states that are involved in the cattle business. How would you rank your association, the Idaho Cattle Association, as to what's maybe happening in Montana, Colorado, Utah, etc.? How are we doing right here in the Gem State?
You know, and I have had the opportunity to visit other associations, and I want to take nothing away from the positive things that they are doing in other states. But I rank Idaho as second to none. We have just an excellent staff. We have an excellent board of directors. Our leadership in the state is solid. And then I'll just give you an example. We are light years ahead of other states when it comes to setting the bar for preventing the listing of the sage grouse as an endangered species.
Mm-hmm.
Our state association, our legislative delegation, our governor, we work so well together in creating a policy format to go forward with from a political standpoint to further our way of life in the state of Idaho. Very much appreciative of those people at all levels.
You know, Gerald, when you look at the schedule of events still to go at this convention for the remainder of the week all the way up through Saturday, and you've got some excellent speakers that are going to be coming in, tell the audience it's not too late if they want to drive up to Boise to try to be a part of it, because it's really informative and a lot of fun, is it not?
That's correct, and absolutely. We would invite anyone to come who possibly can. It's not too late to register. We've got a full agenda today. Well, we've got a full agenda every day, actually. Tomorrow's events are the J.R. Simplot Memorial Golf Tournament, and actually those teams are all filled. We have a rangeland tour, which I believe there's still a little bit of room that we could get on that tour. But the evening events are quite casual and informative as well, and there's room for everyone. We have one Friday evening is a semi-formal dinner and an auction. Other than that, everything else is casual dress. We're attending the Snake River Stampede, which is also celebrating their centennial, and it's going to be a great opportunity to be with them tomorrow night. And then Saturday, we actually have a live cattle drive down Shinden Boulevard, and we invite everyone to come and enjoy that, and then we'll be at the horse races on Saturday evening.
You know, now, I got to say this, and I'm just a little bit wary because I have roped with Butch Otter, our governor, and Butch only knows one speed, and that's fourth gear and overdrive. Please, residents of Boise, watch out for a wild cattle drive.
Okay.
Gerald,
and the outriders for that event will be former presidents of the Idaho Cattle Association, so we'll try and keep it under control.
All right. Gerald, is there anything else that you'd like to say about the Idaho Cattle Association 100-year convention and trade show? You've got the floor. I've got a minute left.
Thank you, Zeb. You know, this just is a great organization. I'll put in another plug. There was someone asked this morning, would we do it again? And the fact of the matter is, I won't be here in 100 years, but I will have grandchildren, great-grandchildren, great-great-grandchildren that hopefully will be to celebrate the next 100 years of the Idaho Cattle Association. Our goal as members is to preserve this association, to preserve this industry, to preserve this lifestyle for those that come after us. It's not just a lifestyle. It's not just a way that we make a living. It is a way of life, and we feel like we have been given a God-given responsibility to help feed the world, and that's what we're.
I want to tell you, I want to tell you, Gerald, you are an example of all that is right with the cattle business and agriculture. You're an excellent spokesman and a true gentleman. Gerald Raymond, Idaho Cattle Association Vice President, God's blessings to you, and enjoy the convention and trade show, and thank you so much for your time on our program this morning.
Thank you, Zeb. Certainly appreciate the opportunity.
All right, sir. Take care. God bless. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Very, very nice gentleman right there, Gerald Raymond, Idaho Cattle Association Vice President, and they are in Boise, and they're there for the rest of this week with the outstanding 100-year celebration. Idaho Cattle Association Industry Convention and Trade Show, and the main headquarters is at the Riverside Hotel in Boise, and they've got activities, great speakers, and all kinds of fun things going on, and informational things all week long. Idaho Cattle Association, excellent job. Oh my goodness, it's time for the weather, and then we'll take some more phone calls. Come on, somebody give me a call, 436-2244. Duck Ugly's bringing us the weather this hour at 163 West Highway 30 in Burley. Have you eaten at Duck Ugly's? Oh my, I'm telling you what, on Friday nights they got that ribeye steak special. Oh, that is fantabulous. And then on Saturday night, Omar is back over there cooking up his delicious, mouth-watering ribs. Knock your boots off delicious. You're going to love it. And entertainment. I mean, they've got great singers in there, and you're just going to have a great time at Duck Ugly's, 163 West Highway 30 in Burley. And right now, here's the weather.
Here's your weather forecast as we hit midweek for Zeb at the Ranch. Going to be slightly breezy for today. Winds out of the west right around 12 miles an hour. Supposed to be sunny skies for today, but this is kind of my interpretation. We will see some clouds, maybe a slight chance of an afternoon thunderstorm because this is southern Idaho. High of 85 for today, tonight low of 56. Tomorrow, pretty much the same as today. Friday, still a chance of isolated thunderstorms. Winds out of the west, picking up to about 15 miles an hour. Expect a high of 80 with an overnight low of 55. And for the weekend, looks like partly cloudy skies. Highs are going to be in the upper 70s to low 80s. That's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you very much, Gina. And Duck Ugly's bringing us the weather this hour at 163 West Highway 30 in Burley. You stop in. Great food and super entertainment at Duck Ugly's. All right, your turn. Come on, 436-2244. 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. I would love to hear from you. In the first hour this morning, we were talking about evil in our society. And if you'd like to continue that on for a couple of more minutes, give us a jingle. I would love to hear from you. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. While I am waiting for your call, I also want to remind you about what some of the activities that are going on up at the Oakley Pioneer Days. It's in full swing. Started last night with the first edition of the four-cylinder car race, bump and rub car race. And tonight, I understand, it's the women's division and the finals. Oh, the gals are going to be behind the wheel. Woo! Going to get rough. And then tomorrow night, the Gymkhana, and then on Friday and Saturday night, the big IMPRE rodeo, dance afterwards, fireworks, everything. And other daytime activities up there at Oakley Pioneer Days, including, of course, basketball and volleyball tournaments. Caller, I'll be right there. Don't go away. Chuck Wagon breakfast and Howell's Opera House presenting Who Shot Pablito Conchito, and parades, everything at Oakley Pioneer Days the rest of this week put on by the Oakley Vigilantes. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. I would like to congratulate cattlemen of the West, and particularly of Idaho. If we had more people back in Washington with the attitude of cattlemen, this country would be humming.
Amen, my friend. Thank you.
Now, how do we get somebody to run for all of those offices so that we can turn this big locomotive around.
You know, Chris, now let me just stop you right there and revert back to the first hour. I'm never going to apologize. I had a lady call me during the news at 9 o'clock, and she says, shame on you, Mr. Bell, for calling this, that, and the other evil. And I'm never going to apologize because I feel like I am right. And it's an opinion program, and I am going to call evil what I think is evil. And I think right now it's permeated into our society, it's permeated into our politics, it's permeated into our leadership, and we are seeing evil every day that has got to be stopped. Do you agree with me or not?
Yes, we need to clean house. And I think put some of those people on a boat that's got a one-way ticket that doesn't bring them back to this country.
Why, Chris, let me ask you this question. Of the people that you know and the people you associate with, go to church with, whatever, why are people burying their heads in the sand and not paying attention to what's going on? I mean, whether it is politics, whether it's gangs, drug trafficking, the gay, lesbian, transgender movement, whether it's absolutely under-the-table deals in politics, why can't people accept that we are looking at very evil times that have to be cleaned up?
Well, I don't know. I talk to people, and I ask them about current events and stuff, and 9 out of 10 of them aren't even paying any attention.
I can't believe that.
Isn't it amazing?
You know, and I sit here every day, and I know you know this is true, because I get up at 3:45 in the morning and start calling back to New York and Washington, D.C., trying to find out all the news and then disseminate what I want to talk about, make up my notes, etc. I just can't imagine how in today's times, especially those with parents that are raising kids, can possibly not get involved, not be worried about where we're headed. We're going downhill fast.
Yes, we are, and I think that until they reach the bottom of the hill and there's a terrible crash, most of them are not going to pay attention.
You know, I want to ask you, because you've been involved in politics, what in the world happened that our government, our so-called leaders, could possibly sit down and try to negotiate a nuclear deal with Iran and not, first and foremost, and above everything else, demand that Pastor Abedini, the Marine, and the others not be released first and foremost? What is going on here?
They're bullied. They've been bullied. They don't have the guts.
I can't argue that. I agree with you. Have we reached a point in politics and supposed world leadership that we are being cowed by everybody and we're afraid to stand up and act like John Wayne and let everybody know enough is enough?
Well, I kind of thought that there was nobody else in the world that could stand up to our military, but look what Obama is doing to the military.
Amen. Amen. Turning it into a three-ring circus.
A strong military. We, of course, don't have a strong president.
Absolutely. Chris, I appreciate your call, and always, but you know, like I said before this morning, and I don't apologize for it, there is such a pathetic move towards evil in our society, and we've got to stop it. Somehow, we've got to derail that train and put things back on the right track.
Well, I'm with you. I just hope that more people wake up.
God bless you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye.
Calls are welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. And I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on this before we go into the next hour. And by the way, the next hour, the big man has just arrived, and that's Kelton Hatch with the Idaho Fish and Game, and we're looking forward to having his report. You know what? I'll put you on the spot here for a minute. Get up close to that microphone for a second. Come on, take off your fish and game hat and put on your daddy hat. Put on your husband hat. And get your toys so you can start fidgeting right there on the air. Really, Kelton, in all honesty, I know you came from a very strong family, a family that had values, etc. Boy, we're just going to heck in a handbasket by allowing all this evil in our society, are we not?
You always put me on the spot.
Yeah, I am putting you on the spot because people need to speak out on this and not be cowards.
They do. I just got the wrong color shirt on to really be. I don't know. It's just tough right now to. If it was just you and me, I've got a lot of opinions, but I really hate to.
Yeah, but you're not representing the Fish and Game because it's not your hour yet.
yeah.
You're just Kelton Hatch, ordinary citizen, even though you are bigger than the rest of us.
It's really frustrating, the direction that society is headed in a lot of things. You know, the funny thing is that right now I've been talking about this with my wife and stuff. Right now in this era, we've got more great things than we've ever had in the history of the U.S.
I agree with that.
You know, I mean, we've got so much technology. My grandfather, when he lived until he was 100, rode his horses right up till he was 97, moving cattle with us and stuff like that, and hunted elk and killed a moose at 93. And he says, you know, the good old days were good, but you died from typhoid, you died from the flu, you had to take baths in a bucket in the front room. He says, the good old days were great. He said but there's a lot of issues back there, and people had lots of kids because kids died. And so we got more advances in medicine. We've got the internet, regardless of what you think of it. I mean, it does have a lot of greatness to it because it can help us for research and to share information, but then on the other side, it's one of the most evil devices ever built.
Absolutely.
And so, you know, it's tough to say. It's really, you know, there's so many just things that are just so awesome about this generation of people and century, but then on the other hand, but you get good versus evil.
Would you agree with this, though, Kelton? You're younger than I am. Most people are younger than I am right now. But
I know a couple mountains.
Yeah, I know. Thank you. But in all sincerity, when you look at the gifts that we have had through study and research, medicine research, etc., and it's almost like we've taken the gifts that have been given to us and we've turned them into evil. That's because we just don't care anymore.
Well, I think we do. I guess I really try to look at it to be more of a half full on a lot of this, and I think you are too for the most part because you're happy-go-lucky, and I mean you enjoy every bit of your life. You're
concerned for the future.
You are concerned for the future, as well as I, you know, and that's why good people have to stand up and do good things, and be examples and get back to volunteerism and care about their neighbor and do things. And that's the thing that I see right now, you know, in my work and in my private life. Less and less people are willing to go over there and help your friend pull a car out of the mud.
I think you've touched on something right there. All goodness, charity, and better feelings and cooperation with mankind have to start with our neighbors.
It does.
And I've been blessed. Well, I've got some neighbors here that are absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, you know, Rockies, you do have some really good neighbors. There's just a lot of good folks that live around over in this part, and you know, and you see that all over. It was kind of interesting. I had some issues with my truck over out of Oakley during hunting season last year. And guy was just driving down the road, been hauling hay, and pulled over, and you know, there's some good folks from this area that still stand up and help, and
Absolutely.
You know, that's the hard part. We just have to really concentrate on good and try to do the right thing.
Oh, you talk about neighbors here. I mean, like Kiltman and Lori down the road. If we need help, bang, they're here in 30 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Rocky, he's here all the time anyway. He's a great friend.
Yeah.
And then Calvin. I mean, the list goes on and on. But it takes people in a reciprocity to make sure that they help pay each other back and pay it forward. Does that make sense?
Oh, you betcha. You betcha. You know, it was kind of interesting. I mean, I think it started around in the 80s when it became me, my, mine, instead of ours, yours, and help it. I want. And so, you know, and so we just need to kind of get that back. And that's, I mean, I heard what that lady was talking about earlier. I think what she's getting at is just those type of people that are willing to step up and help their neighbor.
Got to run to the news. Kelton Hatch is going to be here on behalf of the Fish and Game. I'm really anxious to see what I get for a list this week. I'll check that during the news. We'll be back in about 6 minutes. Don't you go away. Well, we are back and in the saddle for the first and second and third hour now of Zeb at the Ranch with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers, including Western Way Services, always at your disposal. Get on the route service today. Call 734-6969. And also our dear friends with Valleywide Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert. Everything for the farm, the home, and the ranch at Valleywide Home and Ranch. Hey, are you hungry? I am. Today's Wednesday. Listen to this. At the Chadwick Sports Grill, 139 West Main in Burley. Salmon tacos with mango salsa. Let me try that again. I got all lip-tied. Salmon tacos with mango salsa. There we go. How's that? With zesty slaw and choice of side and super salad. I dare you to read that one.
I figured you were salivating so much you couldn't get the words out.
Let me try that whole sentence again. This is worth repeating, and then I'm going to have Kelton try it. Salmon tacos with mango salsa with zesty slaw, choice of side, super salad. Go ahead, read that one for Wednesday. I want to hear that one.
Okay, let's see.
Go. At the
Wednesday, salmon tacos with mango salsa and zesty slaw, choice of sides and soup or salad. Yeah, that's got a lot of zizaz.
Fun, ain't it?
It is.
It's great food at the Chadwick Sports Grill, 139 West Main in Burley. And the bad part of the whole thing is they paid for that commercial. I'm sorry.
Well, people remember it, Zeb.
Great food. Yes, absolutely. How is Mr. Kelton Hatch?
Fit as fiddle, just things are going
You
good.
look like a bass fiddle, kind of wide at the bottom and narrow at the top.
Thanks, Zeb.
I thought I'd get my singer in. Seriously, it's been, my goodness, it's been a month.
It has. It has, and it's just like, I don't know where the year's going. It's July.
Mid-July, man.
You know, you're sitting here talking about the 24th, and I'm sitting here going, wow. I remember as a kid we'd celebrate the 24th, and it was like tomorrow school started. It felt like,
kidding.
you know, you went to the fair, and then school started, and you was back to the grind.
You know, when you look at midsummer like this with the Fish and Game, mid-July, today is mid-July as you're going to get, the 15th. Do you look at a calendar, and do you have, like, staff meetings and say, holy buckets, we've got to get such and such done before this time, or whatever?
No, it's like we're up to our eyeballs and alligators this time of year.
Really?
So, yeah, you're just
This is a busy time, huh?
It is. There's just a lot of things going on. You know, our WMAs, wildlife management areas that we have, we got a lot of guys that are out doing habitat projects and trying to get things ready, you know, for wintering waterfowl and pheasants and things like that. Plus, there's, you know, all the projects that they work on with the BLM, the Forest Service, local farmers and ranchers, and things like that. They try to get a lot of those things going. Doug, right now, he's just stressing about Watt McGargle.
I remember him, your fish expert.
Our fish
that was going to take me fishing back in 1993.
93. Yeah, back when he was a pup. And so, but no, you know, he's busy trying to get through different programs that people are looking at doing to area waters, or just trying to keep track of the water if we have enough water to even stock fish in, you know, because they've been having fish in the Boise and Nampa area tip over and Pocatello actually tipping over because the water's been getting so hot. Fortunately, we got this little cool down. I don't want to get shot for saying that, because I know everybody's trying to get their second crop hay in, get their barley in, and stuff like that. But it was nice for the cool down. We could probably do it with a little less rain so folks could get their crops up. But you know, the hills are enjoying it.
Yep,
it's going to keep it from burning up as quick. And
square your microphone up there just a little bit. You might want to turn it so you're not talking into it at an angle.
Hey, 45-degree angle.
There you go. That sounds good.
Make me sound more professional.
Very much so. Anything will help. What's this about picking up tags before August 1st?
Well, I just wanted to remind everybody, Zeb didn't put in for applications this year, so Zeb didn't draw deer tag, and so the reason he fails to tell you guys to go pick up your deer tags and your elk tags is so that when you don't, he can apply for them at the second drawing.
Is this a gotcha?
No, I'm just trying to, tell these folks that's why you're not helping them out.
Very true.
But you've got until August 1st. If you don't get them picked up before August 1st, then Zeb gets a shot at them, and applications will start around on the 10th of August, and we'll know by the 25th. And so get your tags picked up if you're going to hunt them this year.
By the way, tell everybody, how do they go about picking up the tags? Go right to the Fish and Game office?
You can go to any vendor. Licensed vendor. Okay. You should have gotten a green card in the mail if you drew. There's a lot of people that are really ticked off right now at us because they didn't draw, as usual. They'll say. And so this was actually a record year for applications for controlled hunts. It's crazy. I mean, the number of people... the Magic Valley's known. People know about the Magic Valley. People know that we have great deer hunting over here. We got great elk hunting, and we get applications. I talked to some guys from Coeur d'Alene that are coming down here to hunt mule deer in 54, and they drew the tag.
Wow.
And people from all over the state, Utah, California. Only 10% of those tags go to non-residents, but 90% of them go to residents, and it doesn't matter what part of the state they're from. And so that's one of the reasons your drawing odds are getting tougher here. Yeah. We're looking at 1 in 7 drawing odds for 54, 1 in 5, 1 in 6 drawing odds for 55 down here by Burley. When I first moved here 12 years ago, they were almost 1 to 2. I mean, it's about 50% chance of drawing. 55 was actually close to a 75% chance of drawing.
Wow.
We just got more people wanting these tags, and the youth hunts have really gotten really competitive for these youth tags. I mean, buck tag in 54 down here for a youth, and that's kids from 10 to 18. That was a 1 in 6 drawing odd this year.
Really?
Oh yeah. When my kids were little, I mean, they drew it almost every year.
Every year, yeah.
1 to 1, 1 to as an either sex tag, and I mean even the doe tags. We're looking at 54 down here. I was looking at drawing odds as like 3 or 4 people is 3.5 people put in for every doe tag down there.
Wow.
And so, drawing odds are tougher this year, and it rolled right along when we opened elk tags up, because we started selling elk tags this last week on the 10th. Before we opened our office doors, the Diamond Creek Zone over in Soda Springs and the Sawtooth A tag had already sold out online for residents.
Man.
And this is 1,700 tags went out of Diamond Creek, and 700 tags or something went out of the Stanley Basin. And by noon, we had 3 other units that had closed because they had reached their cap. And so, people are getting back at her. We're getting more folks in the woods hunting, and things are getting a little more competitive. So,
well, you say that they are upset with you being, as an entity, the Idaho Fish and Game, but really, if everything's above board and the draw is legal, I mean, why should they get mad? It's just like playing a game of poker.
Yeah, but it's just tough when they haven't drawn for a few years.
Yeah, I understand.
It's an interesting. The thing that was interesting is I never have applied for a controlled deer tag in my life, because I always just hunt general. Or if I applied, I may put in for 54, the unlimited archery hunt or something like that. And elk were the same way. I always put in for trophy species. Well, people at other parts of the state, they don't have the controlled hunts that we have over here in the Magic Valley. And so people want to hunt near to home, but they're controlled and the drawing odds are tough. And that's one tough thing. Like if I'm living over in Pocatello, I've got 5 units that I can drive to within, 5 minutes and go hunting.
Yeah.
Around here, if you want to hunt deer on a general tag, you have to run over to the other side of Malta or into 56, or you have to run up above Fairfield or above Cary, and so you have to drive a piece to get to a hunting area. 46 out here on the desert you can, but the numbers are low on densities and stuff, and so But we do have really high harvest success. We're, in the 65, 70% harvest success in our controlled hunts, and that's why people are putting in.
Yeah. Let me ask you, what is the date of the opening of deer season, be it bow or muzzle loader or whatever?
It's just around the corner right now. We've got greenfield hunts that have started, will start August 1st.
You're kidding
for
me.
elk.
Oh, my
And then we'll have
goodness.
deer archery starting the end of August. We'll actually have, Unit 55 will have our velvet hunt starting on August 15th.
We're talking less than a month.
We're talking 30 days.
15
15 to 30
days, yeah.
15 to 30 days you're talking hunting.
Yeah.
It's that time of year. Your neck starts to swell. You start rutting a little bit.
Wow.
Start cleaning the velvet off your antlers and
When you say you, I mean, that's kind of a personal problem I think you have or whatever.
This is like getting close to Christmas. Christmas comes in August, because it's hunting season again. And, bird numbers are looking really
just
good.
Doesn't seem possible.
Well, time flies as we get older.
Yeah. What's this about get your hunter education classes now?
Well, that's the big thing. We've got just a lot of kids. I mean, this year they opened that youth 10, 11-year-olds can hunt big game this year. And we've just been inundated with kids coming into hunter ed classes. After this year, it should kind of slow down. But if you're interested in hunting this fall, get in, get signed up, get a hunter education class going now, because once hunting season starts, our volunteer instructors are hunting.
I see.
And that's why they're volunteering this time of year to teach classes. And when hunting season starts, the classes get really few and far between. And so if you've got a kid that's going to get old enough to hunt ducks and geese in December or November, and you want them to hunt with you, get them in the class now, because it's going to be harder to find a class in October or November during the heat of the regular hunting seasons. And, and if you can't get into one, we do have passports and things like that kids can hunt on for 1 year, but they have to be in direct contact with an adult, which if they're that young or first time hunters, you want them close to them. And so, but get signed up, go to fishandgame.org. .idaho.gov.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I put you on the spot. Sorry.
You did. Even though I can remember your telephone number at the drop of a hat.
You can.
I forgot the website.
I knew you knew the telephone. I was going to see if you remembered the website, but that's pretty good.
324-4359.
There you go. Yeah. And you can call in on hunter ed classes, or you can go to fishandgame.idaho.gov, and you can check online to see when classes are going to be in your area.
Okay. What in the world is going on? Wild animals coming out of the Tules and going to town for a milkshake. Moose are in town. What's going on here?
They are. Well, they're filling blue.
Huh?
They're filling blue. Because most of these, what's going on, most of these are yearling calves.
Really?
And Mama had a new baby. And she says, get out of town because it's time for you to go fend for yourself.
Oh.
Yearling critters running around out there, and she kicks those calves off. Unlike, they're 1,000-pound calf, these moose, and so, they're big yearlings, but we've had 7, I think, in town recently. Typically, what
7?
7 between Burley and Kimberly and Twin Falls.
What makes them want to go into a urbanized area?
Well, typically it happens at night, and they get kicked off their mom. They go downhill. It's easier to travel downhill. They hit a stream, Rock Creek. They hit Dry Creek. They hit, any of these streams that are coming out of the hills, and they flow down into the valleys. And all of a sudden, they're moving around at midnight, and they end up on Overland, downtown Burley. And they're sitting here going, and then the sun starts coming up, and folks start going to work at about 5, and they're saying, well, this was really quiet about 2 hours ago. What's going on? And then they get in trouble. And so they'll move down to those urban areas. It's green down here. Mm-hmm. We've got irrigation. Alfalfa fields are nice and lush. And
so what do you do?
Feed.
What do you do?
Well, we had 2 moose this last week hanging out just over by the Christian Center there on the north end or south end of Burley, and they would go out in the barley fields, and they'd go out in the hay fields, and they weren't getting in too much trouble. Well, one of them finally moved in and was sleeping at the Christian Center.
Really?
Yeah, in their yard, and so we went in and we tranked it.
That would really make some people think twice about opening the door early in the morning.
It does. Well, it makes you nervous. You're afraid somebody's going to get stomped. The moose is going to jump in front of a car and hurt somebody. So, yeah, we hauled it to carry and released it to the wilds.
I see. Caller, good morning. This is a Moose on the Loose conversation.
Yeah, I know that big bull you're sitting there. You're picking on that poor little moose.
Bullwinkle is really in bad shape.
I began to wonder, and I seen that picture. I says, holy cow, that moose don't stand a chance.
Well, you know, Al, I didn't know they were having so many of them come to town. Have you had a chance to sit down and visit with any of them or anything?
Oh, they haven't been over this far yet.
I see.
They're coming back.
All right. Appreciate it.
A long time since we've seen them.
Absolutely. Thanks, Al.
Bye.
Okay, Bullwinkle. That's quite a few sightings.
Well, it is when they're in town.
Yeah.
I mean, we've tranked, I think, 4 so far.
Really?
4 or 5. One of them, we always learn. We really thought the one that was in Kimberly, that if we hauled it to Nevada...
Now, that one there I'm familiar with because my good buddy Dave Wright woke up one morning and looked out to his horses, and there was a moose in with his horses.
Yeah. Well, we hauled this one almost to the Nevada border down in Shoshone Basin.
Really?
Within 4 days, it was down living by O'Leary.
You're kidding me.
We got back in Rock Creek and followed it downtown, and the reason we could ID it is because we put an ear tag in them, a colored ID, so people don't shoot them. We're hoping people, because they're full of drugs, ketamine, and so you don't want to get high when you're eating your moose. And so
we've got another caller. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, I can't hear you very well, so I'll ask a question of Kelton and I'll hang up.
Okay.
Just how thriving is the lynx population in the South Hills? We know that there are some there, and I'll hang up and let you answer.
Thank you for that call and that question. That's a good question. What about the lynx population up there?
I don't know of any lynx down there. There's a lot of bobcats. We've got good bobcat populations down in that. We do have lynx that are in... not to say that there isn't any, we just don't have any documented lynx down in the South Hill. We do have them up in the Sun Valley and north up in that area. Every once in a while we get a spotting of those and or get information in there that there may be one. But bobcat populations seem to be doing good. We try to do... a male to female ratio on when we're doing the trapping, and we're not seeing a huge downturn in those numbers. We don't monitor them probably as closely as we need to, but we're still bringing in pretty good numbers of pelts, and so right near where I live, I actually have seen 3 or 4 in the last year just out and about. And
over there south of Kimberly?
Yeah.
Really?
Every once in a while you'll pick one up and cut some tracks up in the hills, especially after snow flies.
I see. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, Zeb, I've got a question for him. It's concerning the closure in the winter in Unit 57. It'd be the west side of Black Pine Mountain. The Fish and Games went in and closed that down for non-motorized vehicles. I was just wondering why they do that, because we've got a mountain lion problem over there. There's a lot of people that go and use that, and now once you hit the boundary up there, there's a sign that says non-motorized. I was just wondering why or who makes up the plan to close that down and the reason why they done it.
All right, we'll ask him and he'll respond. Sir, thank you very much for the call. Appreciate it. Go ahead, Kelton.
That's a good question. That's one of those deals that we battle with all the time. Most of those are the final decision on those closures are made by the Forest Service or BLM or the entity that manages the land. We have gone in, like in Unit 54, on some of this BLM land down here. We'd put comments. It basically primarily is set up for protecting deer, wintering deer, so that we're not. I know down here in the South Hills, I'm not as familiar. I'm familiar with 57. Don't get me wrong. I've spent a lot of time down there. I'm not as familiar with the road closure down there. I do know that it's a major issue that we have with with our cat hunting, because you can't access hardly of any of 54 in the prime part of cat hunting. You can't hardly access any of 57 other than the backside, and so it does present issues, and I know that we are reevaluating our comments on those, but the final say, I'm not giving him the answer he's wanting, but we are very much aware of that, and it is an issue for cat hunters, but the final say does come down to the BLM or the Forest Service on those closures.
But it's something that you're addressing then?
Well, we're looking at it, and those are things that we talk about all the time. I mean, I've had multiple conversations about with different folks on. We're wanting to give access for hunters. We're actually crowding lion hunters into other areas because they can't access this. There's some special use permits in there that some people have the right to get up into there. They either own land or or something's going on up there that they can get up there, so it makes it a really good hunting area for those lion hunters. I chased cats for years. I had hounds before I moved over here, and I definitely know where he's coming from. And so I wish it was a simple answer, but the biggest reason is for the protection of wintering mule deer so that they don't gain fat after winter comes, and we're trying to keep them from getting chased around the side of the hill.
Okay. All right, Kelton, thank you. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Zeb, it's me again. I contacted the Forest Service on this same deal that I was talking to you before, and they told me it was due to the Fish and Game closing it down. So, we're kind of getting the runaround back and forth between the Fish and Game and the Forest Service, BLM. Nobody wants to take responsibility for this deal,
Yeah, and I understand on that, and I'm not surprised at all. We may have commented on that, but we cannot. I have to go to the Forest Service to get the key to open those gates so that we can do wintering counts up there, or to do our radio telemetry. They're the land manager, and they're the ones that actually shut it. It may have been comments that they had made, and my problem is I've only got 13 years of history here, and so I don't remember. I'll see if I can't actually chase down 57 and have a good answer for you next time. I'll do a little bit of research and see what is actually going on over there. But I do know primarily the reason that those areas were closed is just because of access, people driving around and pushing deer. And I know that the Forest Service over by like where our ranch is at, they closed everything down over there just because of road degradation after it gets wet, so that they didn't have to spend money on rebuilding roads. And so all
right, caller, I hope that helps a little bit, and we'll try to stay on top of that. And I know who you are, and thanks for calling. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. One thing I'd like to go back to before we take a hard break here at the bottom of the hour is, even though the moose are down here and they might be absolutely living in a parking lot, staying or laying down by a building, do not try to get up and pet the wild animals. My goodness. I read stories every week where people are out there, whether it's Yellowstone or back east in Wisconsin, Indiana, whatever, they go up and try to pet them and have their pictures taken with them.
Well, I guess people get stomped into blood puddles, I guess I would like to call it, because moose can be very aggressive.
Very dangerous.
If they've got calves around them. Yeah. And that's one of our biggest concerns. If you get a moose that feels trapped, or it's cornered, or your dog's harassing it, people say, oh, we'll sig my dog on it, get it out of here. Yeah, and then your dog, the moose chases after your dog, and your dog runs between your legs. And where does the moose go? And so, it's just like a good cow dog. You don't want him to run back at you when the bull's charging. And so, you have to be really cautious around the moose. Don't try to sneak in on it with your cell phone to get a picture. We see that quite often, and so just be cautious. Give us a call. If you see one, give us a call. And I was going to say, go to YouTube, Idaho Fish Game moose, burley moose, and you can pull up a YouTube video we put in on it.
I'll do it. Hey, real quick, before we take the break, I want to remind everybody about the Oakley merchants that are supporting Oakley Pioneer Days all this week, and they include Smith's Cafe at 135 East Main in Oakley. Oh, my goodness, this coming Saturday the 18th, they're going to have a Dutch oven dinner from 4 p.m. until the food runs out. All kinds of goodies at Smith's Cafe at 135 East Main in Oakley. Also, on behalf of Speaker of the House, Representative Scott Bedke, he is urging everybody to come on up and enjoy the best celebration in Idaho, the Oakley Pioneer Days, all this week. Help Oakley celebrate 128 years of family Western traditions. Scott Bedke and Smith's Cafe urging you to be a part of Oakley Pioneer Days. We'll be back in about 3 minutes. Don't you go away.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KVAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Oh, don't forget, on Thursdays at 10:32, Vicky's Country Garden with the show called Gardening for Idiots, named after me. I'm not a very good gardener, but I'm learning, thanks to Vicky at Vicky's Country Garden, 185 South, 600 West of Paul. Number to call, 438-5663. Oh, my goodness, she's got everything in for your garden. She's got everything for your landscaping, decorative rock, soil aids, chemicals, everything. Get rid of the bugs. She's got all the sprays and everything else at Vicky's Country Garden, 185 South, 600 West of Paul. Kelton, you, during the break, told me that you wanted to address that question a little bit that was called in regarding Unit 57.
Unit 57, the closure. You know, because I don't want to throw anybody under the bus here, because we're as much to blame as anybody, I'm sure, on that closure. A lot of those closures took place several years ago, and there's something that we do need to revisit. You know, and I have a rough time addressing the number of people down in 57 that are frequenting that area, so I'm going to kind of relate it to the 54 area. I mean, right now at night or during the day, it's kind of a non-stop loop going around Cherry Springs and Indian Springs up through there. And so we closed a lot of that face with comments from us, working with the BLM, on closing that for access in the winter, and part of it was road issues, and another part of it was just to protect mule deer because they're major winter ranges. And like I told you, I will definitely look into 57 and see what's going on down there, why that closure was put into place. I don't know whether that was a closure just for mule deer wintering, because if it's on the west side, I don't know that we have a ton of deer that are wintering on that west side, more on the east side. And so there may be another reason for that closure down there. But we do, when you see closures like that, typically what it is it's a joint group of folks from the BLM, Forest Service, Idaho Fish and Game, try to get some sportsmen's groups and things in there with them. They sit down, they scope those, they try to come up with the best reasoning, best management practices for the wildlife in that area. And sometimes there's things that happen that people didn't think about when those closures or you have changes. And so it is probably something that we need to revisit. But I'll see if I can't come up with a better answer for you next time.
Okay. Kelton, we've got, and this is a rarity on this program, normally we go sailing through everything and we're running out of things to say. We've got a whole list of things to talk about. Commission meeting, what are you talking about there?
You know, commission meeting, I just wanted to tell folks, commission meeting is going to be July 29th and 30th in Pocatello. If you want to come over the evening of the 29th, we're going to have a public hearing at 7 p.m. and you can come over and talk about anything that's on your issues. The thing that they're basically anything that's on your mind. But the biggest issues they're going to be talking about are things that for this commission meeting are bighorn sheep auction tags and lottery tags. Do you want to take that call, or should I keep reading quick?
Just call or stand by. We'll be right with you. Go ahead, Kelton.
Animal Damage Control Board, non-resident deer and elk quotas, We're going to talk about outfitter set-aside quotas, non-biological rules on mandatory trapper education, if you got an interest in that, sharptail conservation plans, setting seasons for mourning doves and sandhill cranes and early goose, Canadian geese, discounted non-resident second deer and elk tags, see if that's still a viable program, special discounts for controlled hunt applications, bear, we're looking at changing the bear baiting rules, possibly. But they're going to be talking about it fall Chinook seasons, Fishery Administration take seasons on cougars, and whatever else you want to talk about.
Okay, so quickly give us the dates on that again.
It's going to be July 29th and 30th there at the Fishing Game Office in Pocatello.
Okay, good. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. To start with, I tuned in a little late. Is the fellow from the Forest Service? Are you from the Forest Service?
Idaho Fish and Game.
Oh, well, maybe you can answer.
I try not to answer for the Forest Service, but I'll try. Let's hear it.
I just started going camping again. I hadn't been camping for several years because of health problems, but just started in again. Went down to Flaming Gorge in Utah, and we went camping. And I was shocked when I found out I had to pay $20 a night to go camping.
Holy schmackers.
Do you know in Idaho?
What was that?
What are the rates in Idaho?
Free where I go. Because I just go out and camp on the Forest Service anywhere. I'm guessing up here in the South Hills, do you know, is maybe $6 or $8 a night?
I was going to say maybe $5 to $8, but I too don't go into a campground, and so I'm not aware of the pricing. And I also, if we go camping, we take our tent and do just the same as you do. Yeah. So, caller, I am sorry. I can research that and I can get an answer for you, but I really do not know what a average fee would be.
I do think that you're at Flaming Gorge. It's a highly populated, popular area.
Paying for the name.
You're paying for the area and the name. I've got relatives. I don't, but I married into some Utah relatives, and they all come to Idaho because they can't get camping spots down there in some areas unless they reserve them a year in advance.
Oh, my goodness.
And so I do know there's competition down there.
All right.
But they had no running water. At that price, you'd think they'd supply firewood too, but they didn't. All we had was a campsite and a toilet, which the toilet facilities were real decent, no flies and stuff. But I was shocked that we run out of toilet paper. We were there 6 days. And I was just shocked at the price. I know in Idaho, last time I went camping, I think it was $8.
I'll tell you what, Dwayne. Next time you go there and pay $20, you make doggone sure that the attendant gives you a new roll of Charmin.
Well, we did that, Zeb.
Okay. I got another call, Dwayne. God bless you, man. Thank you. Yes, sir. With every camping fee, you get a free roll of Charmin. There we go.
For
Good morning. $20. Holy cow.
You get a 4-pack.
Sounds like a personal problem.
Yeah.
Anyway, good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Zeb. So I've got a question and a comment, I guess. This spring, Easter weekend, we was camping up in the South Hills, Rock Creek area, and we was approached in our camp by two fish and game officers. First of all, I want to say that I understand the job that them guys got to do. Unfortunately, there's not good people in this world, but there's still a few of us that are left. And the way my family was treated by these two fish and game officers, was very uncalled for. They approached us like we was criminals. This is a 8 and a 9-year-old child and a 17-year-old child, myself and my girlfriend there. The two kids are fishing in the creek. They get hung up. This is 9 o'clock in the morning. I go to untangle these guys. These guys literally sneak up on us, come through the brush, instead of the open roadway that's right there. Give me a rash about this. They want to know what I had for breakfast. They want to know who's in the camper. They want to know what's in my kid's car. Are you serious? I I paid for my fishing license in this state, my hunting license in this state. You know, at what point are you doing your job versus bullying people?
All right, that is a very good point. I appreciate your call, and we'll discuss that. Thank you, caller. You know, there's a lot to be said for having a personality and putting it in your job and approaching people in a professional way. What do you think about some of the charges that he made there?
You know, the first thing I want to do, if he felt in any way, shape, or form, I want to apologize to him if he felt like that there was anything out of line on it. And evidently, he did. And so I do want to apologize for that. I do know that our officers have a very difficult job. I don't know the circumstances. It sounds like a training scenario to me. If it was in the spring, we have what they call as FTOs, field training officers. They go out in the fall, and we have those guys going out. It may have been a new officer. They're working on officer safety with a lot of these guys. Personally, in the Magic Valley right now, we've got the best group of officers I've ever worked with. We got a lot of young guys that are very caring. We had, that try to work really closely with the public. And so I don't know the whole situation that was going on in this. But if a person something like this does happen to them and they feel like they were unjustly accused or treated incorrectly, please give us a call at the office, because that's the only way that we can correct things like that.
Let me ask you a question there. Can a person, a hunter or fisherman, can they demand that they get the agent's name and badge number from the Idaho Fishing Game?
Oh, you bet. We all wear our names on our shirts, so it's real evident, so people can see. And I mean, if you do feel like you've been treated incorrectly or unfair, please call us that day so that we know who it was, where it was, and we can get to the bottom of it. Because I don't want something like this to sit around and fester.
Absolutely.
Because our goal is our officers do run into some rough stuff, really rough stuff, and a lot of times our poaching cases are connected very closely with drugs or other things like that, and so they're full-fledged state police officers. They go through Post Academy, the police officers training, service training. So they have all the rights and powers of your county or your state or local police departments, and so they do that same type of training. But when you do have an incident like this, contact us that day.
Right.
Don't let it fester. Absolutely. And let's get to the bottom of it.
Absolutely. I got to take a break. Thank you very much, Kelton. And the weather is brought to you this hour by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Oh my goodness, changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Absolutely, with the hot summer barbecue special, ribeye steaks, New York strips, sirloin tips, ground beef. My goodness, 50 pounds of meat for only $199 at Scarrows Meats, and they guarantee everything they sell. Call them today at 324-7657, Scarrows Meats. It is delicious. Right now, here is the weather.
Here's your weather forecast as we hit midweek for Zeb at the Ranch. Going to be slightly breezy for today. Winds out of the west, right around 12 miles an hour. Supposed to be sunny skies for today, but this is kind of my interpretation. We will see some clouds, maybe a slight chance of an afternoon thunderstorm, because this is southern Idaho. High of 85 for today, tonight low of 56. Tomorrow, pretty much the same as today. Friday, still a chance of isolated thunderstorms. Winds out of the west, picking up to about 15 miles an hour. Expect a high of 80 with an overnight low of 55. And for the weekend, looks like partly cloudy skies. Highs are going to be in the upper 70s to low 80s. That's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Not too bad. Scarrows Meats, absolutely delicious. They guarantee everything they sell. You check it out today. That hot summer barbecue special, just $199. Changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Scarrows Meats. Kelton, we are way behind, and real quick, give me short answers on these. Fire danger.
Be careful.
Yeah. That's it?
Well, you said short.
Well, I mean, that wasn't short. That wasn't even there.
That's all it takes.
Is it pretty bad up there?
You know, certain parts of the state have moved to level 2. I don't know where we're at right now, but I do know that the cheatgrass has dried out. Fortunately, we didn't get a lot of cheatgrass this spring.
And you laughed at me earlier?
Well, you know, it's easy.
Yeah.
But, you know, but just be careful. Just a lot of folks are out right now. I mean, everybody's out camping. Hopefully not for $20 a night, but they're out camping. With Sherman.
Yeah.
And they're out camping, and so there's just a lot of folks outside, you know, and we've had the 4th, and we got the 24th coming up, and so we got a few more fireworks out there, and they're not legal on any of those state and federal lands like that, so be careful, because we don't want to burn. We had a fire up Rock Creek last week.
I heard about that.
And so
it was last Saturday or Sunday, wasn't it?
Well, it was last Friday night, and it rained Saturday and put it out, helped put it out. They jumped right on it and knocked it out.
They had a helicopter taking water out of the lake.
Yeah, they did. They're just fishing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay, speaking of fishing, good lead-in, fishing report. Give us a real short synopsis.
Fishing report. It's warm, and fishing is a little slow on some of the area reservoirs. Salmon Falls Creek is still fishing good for trout and walleye and bass, but it has slowed down a titch. Anderson Ratch is red hot. It was hotter 2 weeks ago for kokanee, but they're catching 16-inch kokanee up there.
Ooh.
They're yummy.
Yeah.
Yummy. So Magic has slowed down quite a bit, and you know, your streams right now are doing pretty good. Get up into those cool pools and stuff like that, and just get out and have some fun. Beat the heat in the valley.
Okay, we got to get McGargle on someday.
Yeah, there you go.
We've been trying for 4 years.
You tease him so much.
Yeah, he deserves it. Okay. What is this report? Dead animals.
Plague has been popping up.
What's going on?
We had just have you found any mice in your house this year, Zeb?
Not in the house, honestly, but out in the barn and all the voles around the arena and everything. I've never seen such a mess.
Well, because of that, we're getting some of these old school virus or diseases that have come to town really bad, and there's tons and tons of. I mean, raptors are just coming through the roof this year. We got hawks and owls, and you know, everything had double clutches of chicks this year because there's so much food available. But the thing is we've been finding the plague, piles of lots of dead rodents or squirrels or things out south of Boise and out in that area. I just wanted to now tell people this: if you come onto an area and you find a bunch of dead critters laying around, don't be picking them up or letting your dog eat them, because it could be the plague, because it has been located 4 or 5 places in the state of Idaho this year. And that's just because of, I mean, it's hot.
How would they know?
Because there's a whole bunch of dead animals.
No, I know, but I mean, if they, come close to or whatever.
Well, you walk along and you find them. Just give us a call or call CDC.
Okay.
And Center for Disease Control downtown, the health department. They'll send somebody out, get a sample. We've been running, and we've picked samples from some areas up around Fairfield that didn't come out to be plague, but they did find a bunch of dead voles. There's been people with sick dogs. It's always a concern. Your dog gets out there running around, eats a plague-ridden vermin or something like that, and so just be knowledgeable.
I have never seen anything like the vole situation this year. Have you got a lot of them over there south of Kimberly?
Good heavens.
Yeah. I'm not trying to be funny when I say this, but over on the east side of my arena, I can't walk over there on my crutches because of all the holes.
Oh, yeah.
It's terrible.
They're plotting you.
Yeah.
They're trying to get you to go down. And
get the fat guy. The guy carrying the Charmin.
Yeah, there he goes. That way they can make a nest.
Yeah. It's not funny.
I know. There's a ton of voles out there this year. Yeah, and I don't even like talking about this because I still got to kill them in my yard. My wife is after me so much.
Yeah, but you should not have a vole problem because you're really good at starting fires.
Yeah, there you go. That's why they're all there. They lost their house.
So how did you come out after you burned down half of Kimberly?
Just a small stretch of timber. But, not very good. I think we drove the whole vole population out of my trees. But guess what? Those trees are coming back. They're about knee-high already.
Really? They're knee-high already. Oh, I'll tell you.
Yeah, it makes me feel good.
Hard to replace those that were 25 feet tall.
Yes, it is.
Paul Bunyan with his matches.
This really hurts, Seb.
I can tell. Okay, now that leads us up to the next subject, roadkill.
Roadkill. You know, if you run over a dead animal, I mean, not a dead animal. If you run over an animal and kill it, you can take it home. You just need to go to the Fish and Game website.
Skunks and stuff like that.
Skunks. Anything you want to harvest and take home and eat.
Yeah.
If you run over a bobcat, you can take it home.
I didn't know that. I thought you had to leave it there.
Nope, you can take it home.
They changed the rules.
About 2 years ago.
Really?
And I just want to get people familiar. I just had a couple calls the other day because people had hit deer, and we appreciate you dragging them off the road if you hit them, but please don't drag them into the farmer's field.
Yeah.
Because if you just get them off of the road, off onto the shoulder, if it's in town or something like that, give us a call the day it happens, or take care of it yourself, or call us and we'll tell you where to discard it, or something. But when you drag them into the field and they set in the sun for 2 or 3 days, and then they get stinky, and then the farmer comes along and needs to cut his hay, and they grab it's just not a pretty sight. And so you can do a multitude of things with those animals, but try not to drag them into the farmers' fields and stuff like that, because they can plug up their swathers, they're moving water, or their combines and stuff like that. But just get them off the roadway. We do appreciate that, or take it home and harvest the meat from it.
Okay. Now, along with the roadkill, you had at the last on the list here lots of raptors.
Yeah, this week alone at my house, I've received 8 calls on people with injured hawks and owls.
Can I interrupt you there for a minute? Is it just me, or is the population of the hawks in particular more so this year than ever before? We can sit on that porch out here at night, and you literally can see 30 to 40 flying overhead.
And the reason is because we got lots of voles and mice. So Mama has the eggs. There's plenty of feed for them, so she can go out and catch all the food. And a bunch of these birds are fledging and living.
Really?
And so you always get this huge bounce in raptor populations, owls and hawks and stuff like that. Whenever you have high vole and mice populations, because there's just tons of feed out there. We've got them in. I had a call last night from a guy that's got one in downtown Twin. It was in his garden. I said, well, it's a good place for it because he's trying to catch some mice out of his garden.
Yeah.
But it hit a fence and damaged its leg. And then we had one in the ag fertilizer building down here by Kimberly and Hanson, the brand new building they're building. And we had a couple more out in we've just had them everywhere this year. And so if you have them, you can, if there's a major issue with them, give us a call. If you can pick them up, or if they're broken down and in bad shape, if you can bring them by the office, that's fine too. But
what about eagles?
We've got 4 in right now.
I was going to say, is there influx in the numbers?
There is.
Really?
Huge influx. Our raptor rehabber, I think she's got 3 or 4 in her rehab facility right now.
I have never, out here in this part of the country, ever seen so doggone many hawks in my life. Yeah. They're all over the place.
Yeah, so
I got to do
lots of critters.
Okay. We'll be back and wrap things up with Kelton Hatch in just a minute. Don't forget your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Oh, my goodness, for a free pre-trip safety check. They'll check out all your tires, your tire pressure, visual inspection of the brakes, shocks, and struts. You check out visually your wheel alignment, all kinds of things for your safe driving at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations, including the very best of tires. Hey, listen, on sale right now, the Strategy tire for your passenger cars, 60,000-mile warranty. Don't pass this up. Get in and check on it today. And, of course, the very best in brake service. Professionally trained technicians, they know brakes. Front-end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries, all of this and more at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers with Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, John on Pole Line in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. The best, our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Well, you have exactly 1 minute to wrap it up, my friend. Kelton Hatch with the Idaho Fish and Game, Mr. Roadkill Expert.
Get out and have some fun. Take your kids fishing.
How'd you go from there to roadkill and back again?
No, it's just...
Hey, how are the free fishing days or the kids' fishing days going?
Just crazy.
Really?
You know, we've been averaging 50 to 100 people at all the events.
Whoa.
Been a tremendous year. Right now, they'll be... at Gavers Lagoon until noon today.
I see.
I can't remember where we're going to be Saturday.
I had the list and I can't find it.
Well, that's why I didn't bring mine, because I knew you had yours.
Yeah, right.
But, you know, go online, fishandgame.idaho.gov,
Okay.
sign your kid up or yourself up for Hunter's Ed, and go to the Take Me Fishing icon, click on Magic Valley, and you can see where we're going to be next.
Hey, let's have some fun next month in August on the Fish and Game Report. Let's get Doug McGargle over here.
I'll see what we can do, see if Dougie's around.
Wouldn't that be a treat to have him and you on the same program?
Well, maybe him. I don't know that I want to be. You guys might go to arm wrestling or something.
No.
This great.
I just want to see if he's ever really going to hold true to the fact that he said he'd take me fishing.
You know, he felt like he had covered that when he took you electrofishing.
That was not exactly what hitting me with the probe.
Well, that was their goal.
Yeah.
And they want, shock therapy is supposed to help, you know. So, but
that and a roll of Charmin will get you another fishing trip.
There you go.
Okay, I got to run. And literally, Kelton Hatch, God bless you, man. Fishing Game Report, thanks.
Thank you.
All right, take care. We got to get out of here until tomorrow morning at 8:06. The way things were, the way things ought to be. Zeb at the Ranch, God bless. Have a wonderful Wednesday.